Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we head into week 12, for a lot of y'all, including myself, it is make or break for the fantasy playoffs. But don't worry, I'm here to help you out. We're going to set some lineups. We're going to look at some fantasy trades as well, and we're going to help you get all set up, ready to go this week. Appreciate y'all big time for being here. The big story this week, the big name this week, the name that I could have started last week in the Flock League and won, but unfortunately I'm a dumbass sometimes. That is Sean Tucker. I want to talk about Sean Tucker here just quickly to open the show because he has all the chance in the world to be another week winner in week number 12. All reports, as they showed last week, we had hints that his role was going to grow. I thought Rachaad White would still lead the way. I just thought Tucker would get more opportunities. But no, Tucker completely took over that backfield. And in fact, if you look at the second half of last week's game, Rachaad White only touched the ball twice. It was Sean Tucker season from the second half onwards, and rightfully so. He looked like a superstar. But according to Deanna Rossini, we expect Sean Tucker to get a heavy workload versus the Rams. Obviously, he put out himself his whole I'm pleased performance. If you guys don't know, this goes all the way back to his days at Syracuse. He wore the number 34, and it was his thing. He would always say, I'm hashtag pleased with my performance if he had a big day, which was fun. Badaki in particular loved him coming out of Syracuse. Now, if you look at the ceilings from Dwayne McFarland, who works with Fantasy Life based off projections, you'll see Sean Tucker has the 6th highest ceiling of any running back in Fantasy Life's projections, and that's ceiling projections, by the way, for the running back position in particular. But this is another great stat from another awesome person over on X, Wolf of Roto Street, who says, insane Sean Tucker stat. Tucker's seen double-digit carries just 3 times in his career. In 2 of those 3 games, Tucker hit 34-plus fantasy points and finishes the RB1 of the week. And if you guys don't know the games that he's referring to, well, this year, in week 8 versus New Orleans, he had 12 rushing attempts. He ended up with a touchdown. That is the one game where he didn't score over 30 points, where he had 10 or more touches. Obviously, week 11 last week, he had 34 points. But the other game he's referring to is last year versus the New Orleans Saints in week number 6. He had 17 touches, averaged almost 10 yards per carry, and again, over 34 fantasy points, a touchdown on the ground and in the air. I am very excited about Sean Tucker. I am starting him in the Flock League. I need him to be a big part of my lineup. I got to win out to have a shot at the playoffs here in the Flock League. Injuries have just been, oh my gosh, they don't stop. So I need Sean Tucker to step up again. It is a tough run defense against the Los Angeles Rams. In fact, the Rams are a bottom 3 matchup for your fantasy running backs. However, the offensive line in Tampa Bay is getting healthier and healthier. Tristan Wirfs is just an absolute tree that they can run behind. And when I look at my rankings heading into this week, I have Sean Tucker at running back 18. So I'm not willing to start him over the names like the Henrys, Cooks, Etienne, Brown, Judkins, Hall, Swift, Genty, Warrens. But I am starting him over the likes of the Aaron Jones, the Hendersons, the Stevensons. I had Woody Marks there at 22 before Thursday Night Football. So that's where I currently rank him. But to be fair, he's in a tier that's as high as RB9. I feel like that is English is hard. I feel like that's really respectful of me to put him at RB18. I'd love to hear where you guys stand. Let me know your thoughts down below. Where would you rank Ashton Genty if you put together rankings for fantasy football? How high would you have him ranked? I just want to see what that would be for you. Now, the fantastic news today is, yes, we do have questions on the Flock site that I'm going to get through and answer. Shout out to you guys for showing some love and submitting them. But we also have a giveaway today. All you have to do to enter that giveaway is type step 1 is simply to like the stream. Step 2 is to type Sean. Okay, that is today's keyword. Obviously, because Sean Tucker is the player that is the biggest hype name, if you will, in today's world of fantasy football. We all know Sean Tucker, how excited we are about him. So again, code word today is Sean to enter. So be a friend, hit the like button, and type Sean. Last thing I want to say here just quickly is I am so excited about Sean Tucker. And, you know, we have to recognize the floor is low because Rashaad's going to be involved. And the Rams defense is very good. I think we need to recognize that. However, I'm so excited about the potential of a Sean Tucker this week that I actually have him in one of my Super Slam lineups for FastDraft. In fact, I gave him the 2-time bonus against the Rams. I wanted to get unique with this lineup. I feel like this lineup is quite unique. You know, Sean Tucker, we're rocking with Michael Wilson at the 1.75 bonus, Derrick Henry, Brock Bowers, Ramondre Stevenson, and Darnell Mooney. So I wanted to get a little bit unique with it. I wanted to, not just choose all the top names. Now, if you guys want to create your own starting lineup for FastDraft, it's incredibly simple. Such a fun game. All you have to do is choose 6 non-quarterbacks that you like, create a unique lineup. The more unique your lineup is, then the better chance you have of winning, the cash prize there. But if you've never played on FastDraft before, go download it. You can actually just submit $5 and get a free entry with the code LAND. Again, fairly simple. All you need to do is just download the FastDraft app, use my promo code LAND. You will be supporting the show, keeping the lights on. And I'm going to give you 10 free. They have a different tournament you can do that's weekly, but it's 5 free for the Super Slam. Then you're going to get my week 12 rankings free. So check that out. Guys, I put that link in the chat. In fact, I'll put it in there one more time. But again, FastDraft code LAND. If you want to tail me, I don't think it's a good idea. Like, this is the whole point of this contest is not to tail, because then we're both going to have a very low chance of winning money, right? The whole point of that is to get unique and think outside the box. So definitely go check that out. But again, appreciate y'all big time. Let's go ahead and let's jump into some questions on the Flock site. To anybody who's submitting a super chat, I appreciate you guys big time. But those will be answered after site questions on the Flock site. Okay. So I appreciate y'all big time. I will get to those after we answer the questions on the Flock site, because all year we've been saying that those questions will take priority, and I'm a man of my word. All right, what's up? LeBarnes in the building. Caleb Williams, Chase Brown at RB2. You got to start Judkins. I know it's not a good matchup, but you don't have another option there. And then I guess in your flex, yeah, you have Alec Pierce, Tyler. Look, I'm definitely starting Tyler Warren over the likes of Darnell Mooney. I like Mooney. He's a fine option. I am definitely intrigued about the idea of Ken Walker getting more work. And I think it's enough intrigue for me to say, let's go ahead and start him over Alec Pierce against the Chiefs, who doesn't have a very good matchup. Hey, if this is helpful to anyone out there, then great. If not, I apologize, but I don't want to waste any time. I want to say, I think Brandon Ayuk is completely droppable. Not in dynasty leagues, okay? I want to be specific there. Not in dynasty leagues, but specifically in redraft leagues, there is no reason to hold on to him anymore, okay? That relationship between him and the 49ers is completely out the window. There's no trust anymore. So if you're out there and you've been holding him on your IR, now is the time to move on from him. Go pick up another name, because he is, at this point, a roster clogger. There's just no world in which he's going to play for this team again, in my mind. I hope he actually goes to Washington. But anyway, I like that lineup. Thanks, LeBarnes. Appreciate you guys for being here. If you guys do want to submit a question through the site, great thing about the website is you'll get a time code to exactly when I answered your question. Our devs will send you a link, which is awesome. And if you want to ask that question, you can check out the pinned comment to get on the site. Selly, what's up, man? Says rebuild, giveaway, late first, not mine, get late second. So you'd send away Devonta Smith in a late first for a late second and Garrett Wilson in a rebuild. I have no problem with this. I think this is relatively even. I really do. I definitely prefer Garrett Wilson over Devonta Smith. But I think one thing you got to consider here, Selly, is that the relationship between A.J. Brown and the Eagles is not good right now. It's just not good. And Devonta Smith looks like he's stepping into that wide receiver 1 role. So there could be plenty of risk you accepting this trade. And that risk is that the team moves on from A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith actually steps into being like the #1 wide receiver in Philadelphia for the foreseeable future. I think if that world happens, and it's a very possible world, I think you would regret this trade. So maybe is there a world that exists where you can send that first, and instead of Devonta Smith, you can send that first and, a late second as well, a first and a second? Maybe that's my counter. So it's something to be aware of. Okay, what's up? TJ Gott says, Josh screwed me, projected to lose. Yeah, we have a saying here, KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Start your superstars. Josh Allen is a superstar, but the Houston Texans defense is legit. and any player on any week can underperform. And that's what happened versus Houston. He was being, I mean, all over the field, he was being chased down. It was like watching an episode of Cops. But obviously, yeah, not a great start for Josh Allen. I apologize to those who started him. I don't know why I'm saying sorry. But anyway, let's look at your wide receiver position. DJ Moore, Jacoby Myers, Rashid Shaheed. Those are really your options here. I trust Jacoby Myers right now more than I trust DJ Moore. I think DJ Moore, his season has been so disappointing, and I don't think it gets talked about enough, to be honest with you guys. You know, you go and you look at a DJ Moore game log right now. I mean, guys, we have one single game we can be proud of. I mean, look at since the bye week. 8 points, 11, 23, 0, and 3. And DJ Moore is being, you know, continually worked into the rotation. Sorry, Luther Burden is what I meant to say. Luther Burden's continually being worked into the rotation. In fact, Vegas has Luther Burden's receiving total higher as a projection this week than DJ Moore. So DJ Moore can pop off any week, but I think Jacoby Myers is a more reliable option for you. And then I think this is going to be Sean Tucker in your flex spot, my friend, and it is. So let's have fun with some Sean Tucker starts. SJ, what's up? Starting Matthew Stafford, Judkins, Henderson, McMillan, Lamb, JSN, Brock Bowers, and Tyler Warren. That's a solid lineup. You do have Chase Brown. I wouldn't start anyone else over the names that you've got. I do have Chase Brown over Quinshon Judkins this week. However, Judkins is still going into your lineup as a flex. Oh, Tyler Warren, though. I don't know, guys. Judkins has a terrible matchup. We just know he's going to get fed volume. I think I'm playing Tyler Warren over Judkins. Tell me if I'm crazy in the chat. Feel free to say, Zach, you're insane. Go with the guy who's going to touch the ball 20 times. It's in Kansas City. They're going to have to throw the ball. I'm going to go Tyler Warren, man. It's an 8-team league. I'm going to shoot for the upside. Delicious is starting Lamar, Gibbs, Bijan, Rice, Puka, Kittle, Montgomery, Tucker, and Adunze. I like the lineup. You haven't given me any... Okay, so I think you submitted it incorrectly, but I understand what you were trying to do. You submitted this as a start... 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You submitted it as a start 9, but it says start 7, so I'm assuming you only meant to put one flex, and I'm assuming I have to pick your flex. So between Monty, Tucker, and Adunze, I do think that Tucker is the safest floor, but Adunze is probably the one with the highest upside this week. I like Adunze. His splits when he's facing man versus zone coverage are very favorable, and he in favor of man, and he's facing Steelers who are very heavy in man coverage. So I would probably lean Sean just because my name is Rod and I like to party. But I think Rome Odunze is the one that... Okay, how do I explain this? Odunze is what my rankings would say. Sean Tucker is what my heart would say. Now, if you guys remember, infamously, in the Flock League draft, I made a huge mistake because I went with my heart over my rankings. And you guys can go back and watch that draft. A little behind the scenes, I actually had Devon Achan's sticker in my hand before I picked Bucky Irving in that waiting room. I had it, and I stared at it for almost 60 seconds. And I went with my heart instead of my head, my rankings. And I know next year, Zach, don't play with your heart. Don't be a dumbass, okay? Keep it simple, stupid. So I'm going to say in this example, we're going to go Rome Odunze. Keep it simple, stupid. Mr. Green says, got offered this trade. What do you think? Egbuka for Justin Jefferson. Obviously, Chris Godwin is back. I think this is... that is true. It's tough because Bucky got hurt, so who knows what would have happened. I mean, he's averaging 18 points per game. Anyway, who would have guessed? Egbuka versus Jefferson is about as close as it gets. I have one wide receiver 8. I have one wide receiver 9. I have one 19th overall. I have one 20th overall. I really don't care. Go get your guy here. You trust Baker Mayfield more than you trust J.J. McCarthy. In the same light, J.J. McCarthy should improve. Most rookies do over the course of their first, 5, 10 starts, and the target share is there. I think I just lean Egbuka right now based off what we've seen this year. All right, Mick Quinn is here. Says, last chance to stay alive for the playoffs. A trade just got completed in one of my Dynasty Leagues. Give me 1 second. I'll tell y'all what the trade was. Looks like Kareem Hunt was traded for a 4th-round pick. So not very exciting. Sorry, y'all. McQuinn says, last chance to stay alive for the playoffs. Filling Singletary and Yoshi, but too chicken to pull the trigger. Well, I was too chicken last week to pull the trigger on Sean Tucker, so I understand. Sometimes broke money don't make none. Okay. So we're going to play the world where Josh Jacobs doesn't start. And Emmanuel Wilson would be the starter there. Obviously, if Josh Jacobs plays, you don't play Emmanuel Wilson. But given this lineup, Devin Singletary. I guess that's your best option, man. That's disgusting. I'm sorry. Obviously, if Josh Jacobs plays, you probably have to start Rachaad White over Emmanuel Wilson. And then in your flex spot, Jacoby Myers. I just feel like Jacoby Myers is going to constantly be more and more worked into the game plan. Last week was tough because they didn't need him, man. They didn't even need him last week against the Chargers, and he still got 11 points. Think about it. They were up that entire game. That's how I would rock with it. Yeshivas is fun if you just want to YOLO it, but I think Myers is safer. Yeah. Although I'm currently in a position in the Flock League where I might start Yeshivas over Xavier Worthy. I don't really know where I stand right now on that. I'm trying to really work that out. I almost, like, Worthy's dealing with this ankle injury that he's probably going to play. I just wish he wouldn't play so it'd make my decision easier. Anyway, that's what I'm rocking with. What's up? Akko Taco says, leaning Parker, but worry about big game from Love. Right. Oh, gosh. I hate this question. Yeah, look, if Brian Thomas starts, I don't think you can put Parker Washington out there, man. Is Brian's out, right? Sorry, I just remembered this. Brian's confirmed out. I apologize. Yes. Oh, I kind of get why you'd go Parker here, actually. What is the chat thing? I'm going to put this up to the chat. I want to hear your guys' opinions. Over 200 of you guys watching right now. Who would you start? Let's say Worthy, Loveland. I put the L capital like Fantasyland on accident. Or Washington. Let's get some votes there. There's over 200 of you. Let's at least get 40 votes to help out Akko Taco here. Let's get a consensus. I know where my heart stands, but I want to see if we all are aligned. Brian Thomas is out. I'm just going to change my rankings slightly here. I think I know what I would do, but yeah, I want to hear the consensus real fast. Okay. Consensus, 43% of the votes are saying Parker Washington. Let's get 5 more votes in there. Go ahead and submit your votes. Let's get 5 more votes. Let's get at least 40. Worthy's tough, man. I mean, how many weeks, do you need to show you can't start him? I mean, if you replace his name, and this is going to really hurt some people, but especially people who loved him in Dynasty. But if you replace the name and you just put Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and then you looked at the game logs, you're like, yeah. No, that makes sense, actually. That makes sense. That's what I'd expect from MVS. Because that's basically what you're getting right now. Okay, 50 votes, and 50% of the votes say Parker Washington. So that's where we're going to go there. We're going to go Parker Washington, which is where I was leaning anyway. Okay, Party Brock says, my wide receivers, JSN, Rome, JMO, Gibbs, Brown, Judkins, 9 and 2. So you'd send away Javonte and Tetaroa for Chase? Look, man, I mean, I love me some Jamar Chase. That seems like I don't know. Am I crazy? That seems like a little bit of an overpay. Now, oddly enough, you don't have your team linked. You only have his team linked. I've never seen that before. Maybe that's a glitch in the Matrix. Oh, no, there's just no team linked. So I don't know what counters to offer you. I do think this is slightly too much. Like, Javonte is just a must start every single week. I think if I look at my rest of season rankings, like that can't be Javonte. That's got to be more like an Aaron Jones, a Henderson, a Swift, a Brees, an Etienne, you know. That's where my heart leans. But if you're in a 10-team league and you did have your team linked, and I ended up seeing that, you know, both Javonte and Tet are just exposable names, they're not even in your lineup, then I can see why you would go out there and get Chase. That would make a lot of sense if that's the scenario that we're talking about. Guys, I appreciate you so much being here with me. We've got a massive stream. Over 230 of you guys tuned in. First off, I want to say thanks so much for showing up and showing some love. We talked about Sean Tucker at the very beginning of today's stream, but we are doing a giveaway for some vouchers on the Flock site. All you have to do to enter today's giveaway is simply like the stream and type Sean. That is today's code word, and then you'll automatically be entered. And I can tell you right now, at the time of the live numbers, we have 37 entries. So appreciate you guys big time for being here, and I want to show some love back to you. Let's set the like goal at 100, and once we reach 100 likes, I'll go ahead and do that giveaway for y'all. And of course, you can submit all your questions through the site. That's with the pinned comment in the chat, and I will obviously get to everybody. Max says, I have Gibbs, Williams starting running back, Caleb quarterback. You'd send away Ken Walker for Joe Burrow. Well, look, brother, you have Jaden Daniels. How upset would you be if you made this trade and then Jaden Daniels starts next week? I'm not saying I know that that's going to happen. But I don't think you need to make this trade. Think about it. The coaching staff just said for the first time this year, we should give Ken Walker more touches. They finally said that for the first time this entire year. I do not believe that now is the time to trade Ken Walker. Maybe they're lying to us, but the reality is you're not 100% sure Joe Burrow's back next week. What if Caleb is? Either way, I don't think you can lose by holding on to Ken Walker here. So I still think there's a chance that Burrow gets shut down. Obviously, I think it's more likely he plays, but I just imagine if we see a true shift in the backfield for Seattle this week, and like they said, they're going to give him more touches. Imagine it's a 20-touch game for Ken Walker, and then you ended up selling him. I think you'd regret that. So I'm going to say no, thank you. All right, what's up, Daniel? Definitely our monthly supporter that supports the highest monthly supporter each month. Appreciate you, dude. Tootin or Monangai in the flex. Oh gosh, not a fan of either of those options this week. But I would lean Tootin there. Wait, that's my. I'm pretty sure that's what Weekly would say. Yes, Weekly. I still lean Tootin, just because we're starting to see him get a bigger, hand on that role where Kyle is a little bit up and down at times. So I'll go Tootin there for the upside, but they're both floor plays, if we're honest. I.e. at quarterback, we're going to start Lamar. At tight end, we're going to start McBride. In your flex, wow, 8-team league. Okay, that makes sense. Oh my God. I mean, if you're in an 8-team league, I feel like at times I would just put my entire lineup in like a randomizer and just have it pick names for me, because who the hell knows? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys that I would dream about starting in the Flock League. I would just dream about it. Well, let's try and be helpful here. Sorry, someone's playing a movie downstairs. Let's try and be helpful. All right, let me look at my rankings here. Javonte versus Philadelphia is not a bad matchup. Henderson, okay, I'll tell you what. Javonte for sure is in for me. And then it's between Henderson, Waddle, Odunze, and Kittle. I haven't really made this easier, have I? Kittle is a great play because of that connection with Brock Purdy. Waddle is on a bye. I am going to go Kittle here. But, man, you're really playing Russian roulette, my guy. Ricky. Starting Jordan Love, Bijan, Taylor, Adams, DK, Harold, Fannin. And in the flex spot, unfortunately, Mr. Drizzy London is not available. his services are not available this week. I would probably put Ricky Pearsall out there. You know, you go back and you watch last week's game. I mean, you'll see Ricky Pearsall's butt-ass naked open plenty of times. The guy is a really good route runner. It just, Brock Purdy wasn't looking his way. I think that changes. So we're going to go Slick Ricky there. It's close between Ricky and Tootin, but I'm going to go Ricky. All right. P said Scott is starting sending Taylor, Kamara, and Dobbs for Genty and Gibbs. 10-team start 8. I don't know why you do this, man. Let me think about why you would think about doing this. You can't talk about schedule because Jahmyr Gibbs has one of the worst schedules in the playoffs, but I've said this many times. I think he's schedule proof, but his schedule in the playoffs isn't something to write home about. Okay, so I want Taylor over Gibbs, but I definitely want Genty over Kamara Dobbs. So I can't understand why you'd want to do this. I just don't want Genty to be the name. I don't know if that makes sense. I think if I did this trade, I would need Dowdle to be the name instead of Genty. I think at minimum, I would need that counter in order to agree to this. And I would honestly try to get more. I would probably try and do a swap here somewhere. I'm not in love with this, dude. I'm not in love with it, but if you really want to go out there and make a move, I think it needs to be Dowdle at a minimum. Appreciate the question. Throwing darts is sending Judkins for a Dunze. I'm pretty indifferent on this one. Oh, it's Dynasty. Okay, I'm still pretty indifferent on this. I definitely think a Dunze is a long-term alpha, so I have no problem. Yeah, I think this is relatively even. I like to build around my wide receivers, so we'll go with Dunze there. Tired Steak. At quarterback, we got Baker and Danny Dimes. And I'm going to go Baker this week. I don't want to start Daniel Jones against the Chiefs if I have a better option. I think you do. I'm not saying you guys have to sit Danny Dimes, but certainly not a matchup I feel confident in playing him in. We've got Warren and Judkins in there. At receiver, is it crazy to say Michael Wilson? I feel like you have to start Michael Wilson. Zay Flowers is like premium packaged Wan'Dale Robinson at this point. I'm going Michael Wilson, and then I'm probably going to come back to Alec Pierce. Someone tell me I'm crazy. Those are my two highest ranked receivers. I will say, like, Zay Flowers any week could pop off, but I just struggle to see a game script in which they need to throw the ball against the Jets, which is why I'm so high on Derrick Henry this week. But of course, as we always say, and I guess I'll do my little shtick here because sometimes you have to clarify things that seem very self-explanatory. I just want to clarify to you guys, I don't have a crystal ball. Okay, I actually can't predict what's going to happen in the NFL. All we do is we take all the data, analytics, and research that we have, and we say, on paper, what is the best decision you can make? And then we apply that to fantasy football. But of course, there's so much luck involved in fantasy. So keep that in mind. I'm only doing what I would do in my own leagues, okay, based off of all the research, data, and analytics I have access to. Okay. I'm no different to you guys. I just spend almost all of my time researching fantasy football. That's just the difference, okay? Maybe you do too. Loco Goes says, unsure which wide receivers to go with. Flex Kelsey versus the Colts. Okay, let's have a look. We got Baker. We've got Gibbs, Judkins at receiver. Well, Jaden Higgins, man. Jaden Higgins was my guy. I'm glad to see him doing well. I can't believe I dropped him. I waited so long. But you can't start him retroactively, obviously. Lad McConkey on bye. So it's really between Flowers and A.J. Brown. And I'm probably going to go A.J. Brown this week. I just think he's going to be more needed in his offense. And then in the flex spot, you were thinking Kelsey. I don't think Kelsey's a bad option. I actually really like him against the Colts, but I would play Sean Tucker. Of these options, I would put Sean Tucker out there. Can't walk away from a heater, and that's where I lean. Thanks for the question. All right, Douglas, what's up, brother? He says Burrow playing, maybe. He's not playing, so you're gonna have to start Daniel Jones there because neither of those running backs are playing. Yeah. Okay, at flex, you've got Tucker, Gadsden's on bye. You've got Tracy, Rodriguez on bye, Sutton on bye. Yeah, we're gonna go Sean Tucker there, man. Not a bad option there. I like that lineup a lot. Emil is sending away AJ and Tez for Chase and Chris. Obviously, we know that Chris Godwin is back. I definitely feel like that lowers my weekly expectation for Tez Johnson. In fact, I don't think I've made that change yet. Yes, I have. Sorry. So I dropped Tez to wide receiver 46. He's still, in this desperation flex area. But I definitely have less confidence in him moving forward with Godwin back. And I like Chase Brown's schedule. I have no problem going Chase Brown here. Do you need help at wide receiver? Right now, if you make this move, you still have Rice, Lamb, McMillan. I mean, dude, yeah. There's no reason not to go out and make this move in my mind. Aniko says suggestions. We know the waiver options. Okay. So right now you've got Zonovan Knight in there. Monongai's an option. Everyone else on bye. Warren's playing, unfortunately. I think I would play Yeshivas here. What do we think, chat? What do y'all reckon? I think I would put Yeshivas into the lineup, personally. By the way, we just got a report that Joe Burrow is trending towards playing on Thanksgiving. And the only thing I can think about is, please, Lord, protect this man. I'm so worried that he's going to get straight back into the lineup, and that offensive line is going to do what it does best. I would probably go Yeshivas here. I'd probably go Yeshivas of all these options. Bam Knight is going to get plenty of opportunities. I just don't trust. It could be Bam. It could be Michael Carter. It's just too risky there. I'd probably go Yeshivas. And then honestly, I think Godwin's probably worth rostering, but you can't really drop anyone. So appreciate the question though. Carkit, what's up, dude? Starting Brock Purdy, Jalen Hurts, CMC, Kyron, Jamison Adams, and Goddard. In his flex, got tough decisions here, obviously without Chase. Laporta is droppable, by the way, guys. Laporta will not be back this year. There's no reason to hold on to him in non-dynasty leagues. So for fantasy purposes, he's dead. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and go to my rest of season tight end rankings and just completely remove him. Because he gone. Okay. So we've got the option of Judkins, Montgomery, Alec Pierce, Lab McConkey. This is impossible to answer. Obviously, Lad's on bye. I apologize, but it's those three: the Judkins, Monty, Pierce. Judkins, Monty, Pierce. Man, Judkins is the player I like the most, but he has the worst matchup. I don't like Alec Pierce's matchup. Montgomery's matchup is really enticing to me, but you haven't been able to rely on him any week this year outside of like 2. However, I will say if any game he's going to be important, it's probably versus the Giants. I just think Judkins is the safest play, and I think that's what you probably need to do in this scenario, although I do hate his matchup. Appreciate y'all for being here with us. If you want to submit a question through the website, you can do that with the comment that is pinned in the chat. I can actually put it in there for you one more time if you guys like. But anytime you submit a question, just make sure you do it with Fantasyland. I will make sure and answer your question on today's stream, obviously. And you'll get a time code to exactly when the question was answered. Douglas, what's up, man? Starting Matthew Stafford. I think that's the right option there. Chase, JT, Lamb, Smith in your flex spot. This is going to be Sean Tucker for me. Appreciate you, man. Good luck. And we've already talked about Sean Tucker at the beginning of the stream. So if you guys want to hear exactly my thoughts on him, I for like the first 5 to 10 minutes, we talk about him. Dan says, Dart available on waivers. Who should I replace him with if I pick him up? Yeah, okay, good question. Well, Dart is not playing this week, obviously. He's been ruled out. But Flacco seems like the best start this week between Flacco and Darnold. So if you're going to drop one of them, I would drop Darnold. I mean, even if Darnold has a good week this week, people are probably still going to look at his past 4 weeks and see inconsistencies, which is fair. So I would rather start Flacco this week, but you can drop Darnold and go get Dart. At running back, we're going to start Henderson here. Wide receiver. I don't care how you pronounce his name, okay? Yeshivas, I really don't care. I know that the pronunciation police is always out there. Yeshivas, I don't care. We all know who I'm talking about. That's where I'm going to go. I'm going to go Andre. And then in the flex spot, I'll probably put Tracy in there alongside. It's close between Burden and White, honestly. I think White's probably the safe play. Burden's the one that excites me the most. But if you are projected to win, I would probably play Rachaad White. Appreciate you. Thanks for asking the question. I need to change my ranking of Rachaad White after the Bucky Irving being ruled out scenario. But guys, Pacheco was ruled out as well, correct? Yeah. Which honestly surprised me. Did that surprise anybody else? I was pretty surprised because I felt like all signs pointed towards him playing. Anyway, I do like Rachaad White as an option, even though I'm a big Sean Tucker guy this week. Astuma says, realistically torn over who to throw in the flex spot. Henderson, Olave, Genty, or swap Chase out. Okay. At quarterback, he's got Dak Prescott, Bijan, Chase Brown. At receiver, Nico, Rashee Rice, Kittle, Travion Henderson. So you haven't given me any options here to change your lineup. Realistically torn over who to throw in the flex spot. Henderson, Olave, Genty, or swap Chase out. Okay, so I think you're... I think the question is, you have Henderson, Olave, Genty as your flex, or Chase Brown, and you swap one of those out. Okay, I think I understand the question. Look, if you're really in a 6-team league, you might as well put Travion Henderson in there and shoot for the ceiling. But if you're in a more competitive league, 10-team, 12-team league, I think Olave is probably the one that I feel safest about. But I wouldn't sit Chase Brown. But Henderson's the fun upside, the shiny new toy, right? Hopefully that's helpful, man. Appreciate you big time. But again, to be clear, my answer would be in a really small league, you have fun and you put Henderson in. In a competitive league, you put Olave. Romeo, thoughts, counter, or should I do a smaller deal, something like Olave and Harvey for Devontae Adams? So you'd send Harvey, Hampton, and Igbuka for Mason, Puka, and Dobbs. Okay, here's the problem in my eyes with the side that you're receiving, my friend. Let's be so for real about the side you're receiving. Jordan Mason means nothing. Romeo Dobbs, with all due respect, means nothing. You are sending away 3 players that are startable, and I know Harvey was not good in his first game. We actually told you to have low expectations because it was a terrible matchup against the Chiefs. All right, but he still led the way, okay? He still had career highs in snaps. It was awesome to see. But he is going to be a usable piece, and Hampton and Igbuka are probably both must-starts when Hampton is back from his injury. You said, should I do a smaller deal, something like Olave and Harvey for Devontae Adams? I mean, between Olave and Adams, it's close anyway. So I think if you're going to do an upgrade, do the upgrade. I think you probably need to take RJ Harvey out of the deal is what I would say. Yeah, I mean, brother, you can't do this deal and be left with Aaron Jones, A-Chain, and Marks. I love what he marks, but the offensive line is terrible. So I think you need to remove Harvey from this so you have more options at running back. That would be my counter. Honestly, in an ideal world, you actually make this Aaron Jones, and you don't need Jordan Mason and Dobbs back. They're not going to help you in any sort of way. So ideally, you send Aaron Jones and Igbuka. Or maybe you even add Olave into this and you make it a 3-for-2, and then you get back. There's no way to meet that, unfortunately. But those are some counters. All right, let's refresh here. Again, appreciate y'all for being here with us. We had a like goal of 100, and once we reach 100 likes, we will go ahead and do our giveaway, which, by the way, there's currently 56 of you guys entered. All you have to do to enter is like the stream and type Sean into the chat. Like the stream and type Sean. Once we hit 100 likes, I'll do a giveaway for some vouchers on the site. And again, to all my people out there submitting super chats on YouTube, I appreciate you. I will get to you, but we have to get through the messages on the Flock site first. All right, appreciate you guys, big time. Okay, we have refreshed. Dave-O, what's up, man? Appreciate you, Dave. He says, hey, guys, need room on my bench. I can drop either Jawan Johnson or Brian Thomas Jr. Full PPR. Goddard's my starting tie. Yeah, I mean, Jawan Johnson's droppable there for sure. Yeah. Appreciate the question, but yeah, it's not that hard of an answer for me, just simply because I think Jawan is a streamable tight end, which means in good matchups you'll play him, in bad matchups you're not even considering it. And Brian Thomas Jr., it's hard to find that level of receiver on the waiver wire, even though he's not been great. So definitely going to say keep Brian, and I'm going to give you a free start-sit voucher, Dave, for this big old super message. Appreciate the donation, my friend. What's up, Dragon? Would you send away Hampton for Mahomes in a one-quarterback league? You already have Drake May. Here's my problem with this trade. It just doesn't really make sense for you logically, right? I understand that Hampton is an expendable piece for you, but you're going to have difficulties every week knowing who to start between Drake May and Patrick Mahomes. Right now, it's clear. You know you start Drake May every week, and you live with the results. So I don't have any problem with the idea of using Hampton to upgrade your roster, but you should probably do that at tight end, my friend, not at quarterback. Why would you roster 2 elite quarterbacks and have a terrible tight end room without Tucker Kraft now? So if you're going to use Hampton in a trade, go get an elite tight end. You know? So I understand that you have an excess, but this is not the way I would do it, okay? I'm going to keep Hampton here if that's the best offer. I rarely get to look at the chat just because I'm always answering these questions, but someone said Georgia Tech is down 21-0. And that's huge for me as a Virginia Cavalier fan. Oh, come on, Pittsburgh. Come on, Pittsburgh. We need you. We play Virginia Tech next week. Anyway, I want to be in the ACC championship game. Okay. Big boy Crispy. Starting Josh Allen, not a great start. That sucks. It happens. We will put Chase Brown in there, where you got Rico, Pickens, Lamb. At tight end, I like Auten this week. I just like that matchup a lot against the Rams. They are a place where tight ends win. At flex, I really like Monty and Henderson this week. I like them a lot. But Michael Wilson feels like a must start. You have one more spot there. Monty would be my floor. Henderson would be my upside. Appreciate you, dude. And again, to all of our super chatters, I will answer the super chats. I just have to answer the site questions first because that is what we have said all along that we would do. But you guys can check out the pinned comment if you'd like to submit a question through the site. Matt Bear says, appreciate the help as always. Rooting for one of the Lamb boys to make the playoffs. That would be awesome. Jared Goff is going to be your starter there. At running back, you're going to start Sean Tucker. And then I would I'd start Emmanuel Wilson if Josh Jacobs doesn't play. But if Josh Jacobs does play, then you're going to start Alvin Kamara. That's how I would go about it. At receiver, we've got a lot of great options here. You can't sit CeeDee Lamb. I don't think you can sit Amon-Ra St. Brown. And in your flex spot, my goodness, you can't sit Igbuka either. Great lineup, Matt. Appreciate you, dude. NDR says, only doing this because you said to shop around Rice. Other trade ideas, Amon-Ra. So this is what's so funny is like, I released a video this week and I talked, and it's so funny. I literally said in the video, guys, you got to make your own decisions. All I'm telling you is that Rashee Rice's schedule in the playoffs is really bad. That doesn't mean that he's not going to perform. That doesn't mean he's not going to be great for fantasy, but on paper, he doesn't have a good schedule. So look for other elite options. And then the comment section is full of people being like, what a dumbass. Why would you sell Rashee Rice? This is stupid advice. This is dumb. And then you see someone here who could get Jamar freaking Chase. This is exactly what I want you to do. This is perfect. This is exactly what I want you to do. Go get Jamar Chase. Perfect. Joe Burrow's going to be back. We know the upside of a Jamar Chase. Dak Prescott has been fantastic as well as Patrick Mahomes, right? They're both throwing the ball a lot. Obviously, you prefer to keep Patrick Mahomes there. Maybe you can make this a 3-for-3 deal where hypothetically, you know, let's see, is there like a small upgrade you can get somewhere else? What's your tight end situation? No, you don't need to upgrade at tight end for sure. What's a small upgrade? You get Marks and you send Jordan Mason, hypothetically. But yeah, this is the type of stuff I was talking about. Mr. Green says, not sure who to trust for my RB2 and flex must win. At running back, obviously if Josh Jacobs plays, you play him. If he doesn't, I'd start Travion Henderson. It's such a good matchup against the Bengals. In your flex spot, ooh. Well, in your flex, it would be Travion, assuming you start Josh Jacobs. But if Josh Jacobs doesn't play, Emmanuel Wilson and Jameson's close, man. I think Emmanuel Wilson's a safer floor, but Jameson's a higher upside. And I think you need upside in a 10-team league. Cool, yeah. At quarterback, you're going to start Mahomes. At running back, I would start Jaylen Warren. And, oh, did you already flex Dalton? I hope you didn't. I was talking about how it was not a good matchup for him this week. I hope you can start Kareem Hunt over him. If you can't, then, you know, it is what it is. Don't let it bother you too much. If I wanted a wide receiver, but this gets the best deal. But this is the best deal I got. You would send away Judkins and Myers for Bucky. It's funny. I've said this for like 3 weeks in a row, and a lot of you guys who have been with us know exactly what I'm about to say. And what I'm about to say is, if you knew, and again, we don't know the answer, but if you knew Bucky Irving was playing next week, I'd have no problem doing this trade. No problem at all whatsoever. However, we don't know that, obviously. I almost wonder, like, is he willing to give you something small in return? Like, is he willing to give you a Woody Marks back? Is he willing to do a swap where you send... Let me just think of a good swap. Okay, does he have a tight end that you like? No. He's got Jalen. Look, man, I'm not in love with this, to be honest with you. I think you're taking on a lot of risk with Bucky right now, but if he plays next week, his schedule is just absolutely incredible rest of the year. Can you give him Godwin and get back a Pittman? That's maybe a good counter as well. So those are a couple options I'd be comfortable with. JC says, I have Pickens and Juwan, so I'm shaky on Javonte. You can't sit Javonte. I mean, think about it though. Like, What if it's not a good George Pickens game? And George Pickens is for some reason iced out of this one, and Javonte ends up with 2 touchdowns, and CD has all the work, and you sat a must-start player because you were worried about starting multiple Cowboys. I can't operate that way, but I understand where you're coming from. So I'd start Javonte. I'm not going to start a player I don't believe in as much over him. Godwin, Mooney, Juwan. Yeah, you're not going to sit Juwan for any of those names. And then, of course, honestly, I'd play Swift here regardless. I trust Swift more than Emmanuel Wilson, even if he's starting. Appreciate the question, my dude. Oh, that didn't go through. That's unfortunate, Kuya. I'm sorry, man. That's unfortunate, but it happens. It happens. All right, let's try and see where we are right now. All right, one more question on the site, and then I've got some super chats to get to. Like I said earlier, if you're just hearing me, JC, you can actually scroll back into the stream about 60 seconds. I went through your lineup in detail there. Appreciate you, man. All right, so all the questions on the Flock site are now done. That means if you submit one, you will be the first person that's answered. You will take priority. There's no pressure to do so, but that is available to you guys. You can do that through the pinned comment. I'll put a comment in there again for y'all. And of course, just submit it with Zach from Fantasyland. Now, just a heads up, we have 74 entries, and we did reach our like goal for today's giveaway. So that's awesome. We are currently at 106 likes, 105 likes, which is awesome. So we hit our like goal, which means this is your last chance to enter today's giveaway. All you have to do is like the stream and type Sean into the chat. That's the code word for today. I'll give you guys a chance to, one last chance there to really get your questions or to get your entries in. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to answer some of your questions. Let me see if I can go all the way up until the first super chat. I don't think I'm going to be able to, but I just want to try. The first super chat I can see is... Okay. So there's 2 super chats I can't pull up, but I will pull them up manually. And I know that doesn't make sense. I know I just contradicted myself, but you'll understand in a second. Okay, so let's pull these up manually. All right, so I know it doesn't look the best, but because you guys have been so active in the chat, which is awesome, this is the... I can't see all the way back to some of the questions. So the first super chat we had was from John, and he said, pick 2 of 3 backs, non-PPR, Tucker, Swift, and Judkins. Non-PPR... I think I'm... Someone tell me I'm crazy, but I think I'm sitting Sean Tucker here. As much as I love Sean, I think the right answer is to sit Sean Tucker. He has the toughest matchup. He's the funnest name to play. I just think he has the toughest matchup, so that's probably where I would go. Derek is the next one. He says Dak or Brissett, Washington or Jennings. I'm going to start Dak Prescott on a heater. And then Watson or Jennings. That's like Christian Watson or Juwan. I would start Juwan Jennings there. I start Juwan Jennings. Of course, anything's possible, but that's where I would go. I believe I can now show you fantasy forecast. Yes, so I can now actually showcase it on the screen, which is great. Fantasy forecast here with the super chat. And he says, start 2 running backs. Henderson, Bam, Knight, Javonte, Sean, and Tootin. So for me, I think you got to start Javonte here. I'm not considering Tootin or Bam. It's really between Sean Tucker and Travion Henderson. I have been saying this a lot. I've been saying it multiple weeks, and I know a lot of people don't like to hear it, but I just don't believe that Mike Vrabel is going to let Ramondre Stevenson be irrelevant. I still think the first snap, you're going to see Ramondre Stevenson. It's going to be frustrating. I think it'll probably be more of a 50-50 split, but he's not going away. But at the same time, you do have to worry about Rachaad White. My rankings say Javonte and Sean Tucker, but I would like to consult the chat on this one because maybe this is good to get a consensus because it's so close. So let's get a consensus on this. Henderson, would you start Travion Henderson or would you start Sean Tucker? Sean Tucker doesn't have a great matchup. Henderson has an incredible matchup. So maybe this shouldn't be that hard of a question. Maybe it should very easily be Travion Henderson. But of course, I'm a man of the people. And I do think ultimately Henderson's probably the right move here. Yeah, we've only got 20 votes, but so far 80% of them are going Henderson. That logically makes a lot of sense, okay? Logically, that makes a ton of sense. That's the smart move. So that's where we're going to lean here, okay? We're going to lean Travion Henderson for your second option there. G-Man, I see your super chat, but we did get a question on the Flock site, so I got to go there. I'm a man of my word. I told y'all if you submit a question over there, that it will come first. So ZZ Jeff just submitted. I got to be a man of my word. He says 5 players on bye. Should I pick up Watson? He's got Caleb starting right now. He's got Chase, Henderson, Lamb, Egbuka, Worthy, Pitts. And in his flex spots, I mean, Monty is still a great option. Obviously, you can drop Tucker Kraft, by the way, unless it's a keeper league or something. Johnson's not available. Debo's not available. Waddle's not available. Vidal's not available. So really, it's just Charbonnet or Parker. You have Watson on the waiver wire. I probably would start Christian Watson over Parker. So yeah, but if you're going to keep your current team, I'd go Parker there of the options. Appreciate you, ZZ. Thanks for the question. I think that was your first question with us on the site, so thanks for showing up. Another one coming here from Mr. Green. Says, thoughts, look at our team's what's worth chase. Rasheed and Jameson. It's a 10-team league. I'm going to go ahead and say you probably don't need Jameson, but let's look at the roster here. You're starting Drake May and either Burrow or Daniels next week, or Brissett. Great options. Then you're starting Jacobs and Saquon. You're starting. Oh, your receiver room is a little interesting here. But you would have Jefferson and Chase. Then Tyler Warren would be 7, and then you'd have to start one more name, and that would be between. That would be between Henderson, Bucky, Brian Thomas. What do we think, chat? I think he's got enough to pull the trigger. I think he's got enough to pull the trigger here and get Jamar Chase. I mean, look, the guy's going to have to drop someone anyway. So you could ask for something really small in return. You could see if he could float you like a Tez Johnson. You know? But ultimately, I'm pretty comfortable going ahead and taking the Jamar Chase out of it. So I like the deal for you, man. I like the deal a lot. What's up? Yeah. All right, let's jump back over to the super chats on YouTube. Oh, sorry, we got one more question on the Flock site. Like I said, any questions that get answered, I am going to make sure and answer them, or get asked on the side, I'm going to make sure and answer them first. At running back 2, we're going to start Jacobs if he's playing. If not, Bam Knight's your only option there. At wide receiver, I'm starting Michael Wilson, man. I know it's crazy, but I would start Michael Wilson over AJ Brown, and I'm totally ready to eat dirt if I'm wrong. Kelsey's going into my lineup against the Colts. And then in your flex spot, I think that's where we go AJ Brown. I like that lineup outside of RB2, but it doesn't sound like you can really do anything about that. Yeah. Give me 1 second. Sorry, guys. we're going to jump back over to YouTube, by the way. There's no questions on the Flock site right now, so I'm going to jump back over to YouTube and do some of these super chats. G-Man is the next one up. G-Man, what's up, dude? He says, Pierce, Pearsall, Tootin. Do we trust Jacobs over Wilson even with limited practices? Okay. Pierce being Alec, I'm guessing. I would start Josh Jacobs over all these names if he's healthy. And yes, if they're going to play Jacobs, then I'm going to trust that their coaching staff is not doing it, ignorantly. I'm going to trust they're doing it knowing he's going to be okay. Obviously, anything can happen. But between those three names you just mentioned, Alec Pierce is the one that I trust the most, although it is a difficult decision. What's up, Apocalypse? Says, Bucky owner, send RJ for Tucker. Running backs, Dowdle, Barkley. Yeah, for a while there, Avery in the Flock League has Rachaad White, and I was sending him so many offers for Rachaad White every week because I just wanted that security. Thank God he never accepted it because obviously Sean Tucker is actually the one to own. So RJ Harvey's schedule isn't good anyway. Just to have the security of the running back room there in Tampa Bay, I would be willing to part with RJ. But to be honest, like all the RJ Harvey owners out there, I wouldn't do that unless you own Bucky. It's just worth the peace of mind, in my opinion. Dragon says, my bad. I get Pat. He gets Hampton. You reversed it. Are you in the chat, Dragon? Remind me who was your quarterback? I'll come back to this if I see you comment in the chat. But I want to make sure and get you a good answer here. But yeah, man, let me know if you're here with us. Okay. So we've got, your quarterback is Matt Stafford. Look, if Hampton's expendable, you already have Dart though. Stafford and Dart's a pretty good combo. Okay, who's your tight end and who's your running backs? I'm gonna get back to you. Stay with me. Dino says start 2 flex PPR: Monty, Sean Tucker, Emmanuel Wilson, Michael Wilson, Parker Washington. For me, I think the safest options here are Montgomery and Tucker. Okay, but as far as highest upside, that would be Michael Wilson and Tucker, in my opinion. Okay. Yes. Drowsy, what's up, man? Tracy or Hunt for a flex? This week, I would probably start Kareem Hunt. Let me double check. Yes, I do slightly prefer Kareem Hunt. Don't love the matchup against Detroit for Tracy. What's up, Pedro? Genty or Tootin? I'm going to go Genty there. I'm going to go Genty there for sure. You already have Bowers, Dragon. Yeah, that's a good one, man. If Hampton isn't important to your starting lineup, okay, let's see. Henry, Warren, Swift, Tootin, Harvey, and Stevenson. I don't think your running back room is good enough to get rid of Hampton, to be honest with you, man. Like, Hampton would be an auto start with all these names, so I'd probably hold. All right, last super chat here from Dino, and then I think we're going to get to a giveaway because I don't see any other questions on the Flock site. Dino says, Flex 3, Alec Pierce, Algier, Wandale, Trey Tucker, DJ Moore. For me, this is Alec Pierce. This is Wandale Robinson. And then that last one, I'd probably go Trey Tucker. I know DJ can blow up any week, but I probably slightly lean Trey Tucker. I have them back to back in my rankings. So it's you've asked a tough question. You've asked a fair question. That's where I would lean there, my friend. But yeah, Dragon. Hopefully that helps clear stuff up, man. I would not do that trade given the context you've given me. All right. We've got no more super chats. We do have a couple questions on the Flock site. I'm going to get to them, but now it's time to do a giveaway. We have 92 entries, and again, the only thing you had to do to enter was like today's stream and type Sean into the chat. You guys have been awesome today. It's been a fun stream for me. I've really enjoyed answering your questions and having conversations with y'all. Let's go ahead and give away some vouchers here, okay? So the first thing we're going to give away here is a start-sit voucher. All right, and that name that ends up winning the start-sit voucher is, I can't even see it. So many entries. Savages77. Hey, Shout out to you, my man. That's actually, my last name is Savage, so maybe you're my family member. All right, so you're getting the start sit question. Savages 77. You're getting the start sit. And then we're also giving away a trade question voucher. And the trade question voucher is going to go to Country Bumpkini. Country Bumpkini 903. All right. So, to both of you guys, all you need to do to claim your vouchers is simply DM me on Discord. There's my username. I need a screenshot of your YouTube account, and I need your Flock Fantasy username. The next part is very important to listen to. If you don't have a Flock Fantasy username yet, send me, sign up for a free account, but make sure you use the promo code LAND at sign up. That way I can find you on the back end. I appreciate you guys. Everyone who entered the giveaway, appreciate y'all big time. Let's answer a couple questions and call it a stream. Bow's here on the site. Sending away Jacobs, Wilson. I feel like I'm in, what was it, Castaway? What was that movie? Wilson! For Bucky and T. Higgins. I like this long term because let me tell you how I'm looking at this. Emmanuel Wilson's nothing when Jacobs is healthy. I don't know if Garrett Wilson's coming back. It's my opinion. You can have a different one that when Marvin Harrison is healthy, I don't think Wilson's startable. And then we don't know if Garrett Wilson's coming back. So I think the person who's accepting this trade is assuming a lot of risk. One, is Garrett Wilson back? If he is, it'll be the first week of the fantasy football season. Two, will Michael Wilson be relevant when Marvin Harrison is healthy? Now, obviously, you're taking on the risk of Bucky Irving. You don't know exactly if he's going to be ready next week or not. Oh, this is a dynasty question? That changes everything. I apologize. I just realized it's dynasty. Okay. You know, I can't do this in dynasty. I apologize. I just think Garrett Wilson and T. Higgins, there's too big of a gap for me, and I love T. Higgins. But in dynasty, I can't do this. I would be interested in doing this in dynasty if you were able to get like a second round pick worth of value or something back in return. That's where it would get closer for me. Abel, what's up? This is a redraft start sit question. We are going to start Javonte Williams, and then we're going to start Kyron Williams. You can't sit those two names. I know Sean Tucker is fun, but you can't sit these guys. These guys are must starts. You got Nico Egbuka, Kittle in your flex spot. You are going to start, for me, Judkins. And this is so hard. I have these guys back to back. I do lean Henderson. I want to be a part of the Sean Tucker hype, but you just have too many must starts, man. I would love to be in your position. That's an awesome position to be in. All right, no more questions on the site. So I think we have one more super chat. Thank you guys for the love today. You've been awesome. This has been a great stream. I just want to let you guys know, even when I end the stream, you can still submit a question through the Flock site. I will actually reply back with text, and I'll give you my opinion. I'll answer your questions on the behind the scenes. Fantasy Football 44 here. I guess just asking how the team looks. This is one of the reasons, honestly, why we don't have super chats open, because I can't give you a full team review right now, unfortunately. That's on the site. But what I will say is the team looks great. I love that you have Sean Tucker covering off Bucky there. Your running back 2 is great with one of those options. JT is a superstar. I think your wide receiver room is where you're slightly weaker at depth, but still, CD Rice Pierce is great. I don't see any weaknesses, man. I think you're a solid ass team. You really are. There's really no weaknesses on that team whatsoever. Congratulations, man. And I don't mind the trade. I don't mind the trade there. QJ's not really a reliable name, but guys, I appreciate y'all so much. Thanks for showing love today. Thanks for coming out, showing out. If you're starting Sean Tucker, good luck. I am too. Just keep in mind, you don't have to start him, but a lot of you guys, he is probably your best option. We are getting closer and closer to the end of November, so I want to give a big shout out to Daniel 007, Shipworthy, and Samuel for showing some love. You are our top supporters here in November. Again, if you guys need a question answered desperately, you can check out the pinned comment. You can ask me a question on the site. I will get back to you, I promise. But enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to go talk to my family and hang out with them. But nothing but love, guys. See you tomorrow. Yeah, I might do the panic stream tomorrow. Maybe. I might see you tomorrow. Enjoy football.